What's up, everybody? Happy New Year. 2024 is here, and we are kicking off our new series about planning your vehicles and helping you stop reacting to or impulsively buying cars. We're going to go through one of my favorite things to talk about today, which is planning your vehicles and why you would want to look at this. Hope you enjoy this video. We're going to get started right now. So guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a topic that's dear to me, but you don't hear about it very often in the car industry, and that is vehicle planning, like planning an exit strategy for your cars. I'm gonna have a new series coming out about your 30,000 mile review, your 50,000 mile review, and then your 80,000 mile exit strategy or long-term execution. So basically, it's just a different way of thinking about what you're doing with your cars, so you can be proactive about what's going to happen next instead of reacting to whatever's going on. Now today, the reason why I'm making this video, guys, is because 98% of the time, and just some background on me, I've been in the car business since 1993. I've been doing this for quite a while. I meet with customers every day, and I go through different scenarios with them about fixing or finding a solution to their specific problem when it's time for them to get a new or another car. And what I found out throughout the years is that people are always reacting to a current issue or problem that they need to have a solution for right away. And some of these things you may find that you can relate to, like the car's starting to have some issues that you don't want to pay for the repair bills. The repair bills are getting too big, or you get into an accident and you have to do something that weekend in order to be able to drive next week to your job. And the scenario looks kind of like this. You've had a car for a while, you paid it off about 5 years ago, you haven't had a car payment in a long time, or let's say you've had a loan for a long time and it's just become very comfortable, but time has passed. And what we notice is that car payments go up every year, especially in 24 right now with these interest rates the way they are not what payments look like a year ago, 2 years ago. So if you haven't bought a car in a couple of years, if something happens like breakdown, needs repairs that you don't want to make, gets into an accident, has a hailstorm, something that forces you into the market, you're going to be very shocked at what this looks like. So for this particular video, we're going to use the client that paid off a car about 5 years ago. They did a really good job buying their vehicle. They paid it off about 5 years ago. It was an SUV. Let's just say that. And now 5 years has gone by, and the research we've done, if you Google it, is that SUVs increase in price from the manufacturer about 4% a year. So over 5 years, that's 20% more that these vehicles have gone up. Not counting inflation, not counting all of the pandemonium we've gone through since the pandemic, and then the chip shortage and all of these things that caused the prices to swell because we had no inventory. So things have changed quite a bit over the last 5 years. But my clients who didn't have a payment at all and weren't planning to do anything never really saw this going on. They may have heard about it in the news, they may have seen their friends talk about it, but they weren't experiencing it at a level they could understand that hit their checkbook. So if you keep fast forwarding a little bit further, something happens to that vehicle and then I get the phone call. And they want to go back to the way things used to be about 5 years ago. They enjoyed those payments, they could afford them, they could budget for them, and nobody was talking to them about, hey, you're going to need to spend more next time you get a car. Or you need to plan for this vehicle and start saving money for a down payment if you want to keep the same type of payment range. That's when we want to talk about doing reviews so we can help you understand what's coming down the pipeline. So if you have any issues, we can address it. Well, these clients didn't take a look at that. And so what happens is they basically have to do something because the car has that issue that we talked about, whether it's being hit in an accident or act of God is irrelevant, but they are now being forced into the marketplace and they have to look at numbers and they have to make decisions really quickly. Which nobody likes to do that. Nobody wants to have to make a decision about a $45,000 car in a weekend. You know, you would like some time to prepare for that, to understand what's going to happen so that you could budget for it, right? At least that's what most of my clients are telling me. But also, the majority of us are also finding us in category A. Something happens, we got to react to it right now. And when you start reacting to it, you start to rationalize things. You start to basically tell yourself, like, I can't afford the brand new Highlander because the payment's too much. But Toyotas typically last forever, so it's okay if I get a 75 or 80,000 mile vehicle and still finance it for 6 years just so that I can afford the payment. That is a very common thing. People want to get the vehicle they want. They can't afford the new one because they haven't looked at it or they didn't know what was coming. And then when they do enter the market and have to make a decision that weekend, they will rationalize it and say, let's just get an older used one. Toyotas are really good. They'll last forever. But another thing I know is Toyota service department's always full. Mechanics talk about the vehicles breaking down. Odds are it's going to be okay. These vehicles do last a while. But I wouldn't be wanting to roll the dice on a situation like that on a 72-month loan, hoping the car lasts for the entirety of the loan. It's not a good place or position to put ourselves in. So my next part of this video is talk about what I would do and what you can do to help ease some of that stress moving forward. So if you stay with me this long, here's my first tip for the day that you should write down. The best time to look for a car is when you do not need one. The best time to look for a car is when you do not need one. So you may have been in your car for just 30,000 miles. There's nothing wrong with having a review. What's the value of the vehicle right now? How many miles are on the vehicle right now? Now we can calculate, since we've had it for 30,000 miles, we can calculate how many miles we're driving per year. We can look at this and understand it at a deeper level of how far we're going to be able to go with this car. So that first review should be at about 30,000 miles. The second review, 50,000 miles. I picked 50,000 miles because most vehicles have a 60,000 mile powertrain warranty, meaning after you go over the 36,000 mile basic warranty, they still have a 5-year, 60,000 mile powertrain warranty that will cover the motor, the transmission, the drivetrain. So if you have anything major that's going to cost you big bucks, it's usually going to be under warranty. Now at this moment at 50,000, we want to do the same thing we did at 30. How many miles are we driving per year? Well, let's evaluate the vehicle and get an honest appraisal on where we're at compared to how much money we still owe on the vehicle, if any. If not, let's compare it to what it would cost to replace that vehicle with something with 0 miles or something that's 1 year old. We can take a look at those situations. Whether you like to lease, whether you like to purchase, this works for both situations. Does not matter. Shouldn't really be leasing a car that has 50,000 miles on it, but if you drive a lot and you do 20,000 mile a year leases, you might find yourself in this scenario as well. Now at the 50,000 mile mark, we also want to pay attention to what's coming down the pipe as far as heavy duty maintenance, like things that are going to happen after the vehicle hits 60. So if we decide we want to keep the vehicle and keep continuing past 60,000 miles, how much is it going to cost us so we're not surprised? Do you need to do powertrain service, rear differentials, transfer cases? There are things that are going to cost you money that they usually cost what they cost. Most of us are surprised by it because we don't do any planning for it. And so when we go to the shop, because we've got that sound, when we find out it's X, then we don't believe the bill because we've never looked at it before. So that's why all of this stuff happens. Now, once we pass the 60,000 mile mark and we've decided, we've evaluated the car, we like where we're at, we're close to paying it off or we're paid it off already, we're going to keep going to the next checkpoint, which 80,000 miles. Remember, we're going to get this review done at 80,000 miles, not because we need to trade the car in and buy something else, but because of what I said earlier. The best time to look for a car is when you do not need one. So it would be nice to look at your situation again. Now at 80,000 miles, I call this the apex. So that means this vehicle is not going to be worth any more money. After 80,000 miles, it's going to start to rapidly depreciate, and we have to make a choice here. This is a jump off spot. Are we going to keep it, or are we going to do something about it and plan our exit? Also, at 80,000 miles, a lot of time has gone by. These vehicles have changed. You've had this vehicle for 5 or 6 years, you know? And so what else is available on the marketplace that's similar to what I'm driving? You know, another question you can ask yourself is, do I still need this type of a vehicle? Do I need a third row seat that tows 6,000 pounds when I no longer have those needs? I'm not pulling a camper, I'm not pulling a boat, I'm not doing those things. Do I really need this, or is this something I can live without? We also want to look at major services that are approaching. One that comes to mind, timing belts. People seem to skip it because when you go get the timing belt replaced, that also most of the time requires you to change the water pump as well, which makes the bill bigger. So I'm a little out of school on how much they cost, so you fact checkers can help me out here. Average timing belt, I'd be imagining it's around $1,800, but who knows? I mean, I don't know on every vehicle, but that's a major service that I know is coming down the pipeline, which is also preventative maintenance. It is not something that you have to do because it won't be causing you any problems, but if you don't get it done and then something breaks, it causes major problems, or it has the potential to cause major problems. So it's one of those services that you want to do to prevent things from happening that will cost you more money. Which, back to what I said, at 80,000 miles, we need to decide, are we going to spend the money for that type of stuff, or we're going to start planning our exit strategy. How much money can we get for the car? Can we use that money for a down payment against a new car? Can we sell that car and keep the cash and lease something different? Doesn't matter what you do. I'm not here to sell you on those types of things. I'm just trying to help you understand that it's great to look at these things before you have to do something. Now, for my folks that stood with me this long in the video, after the 80,000 miles review, and we're going to decide to keep the car, now it's basically ride it till the wheels fall off, right? We're going to keep this thing for as long as we want, but we're going to make some preparations for when the wheels do fall off. Because I hear that a lot too. Hey, Ronnie, I'm going to keep my car till the wheels fall off. I'm like, okay, what are you going to do when that happens? And usually it's just crickets. We're just going to go buy a car over the weekend. We're going to figure it out that day. And trust me, that's when it will happen. It'll happen on Labor Day, right when we're getting ready to go on the weekend, and you weren't planning on it. So there's nothing wrong with just planning, preparing, putting money away every month so we can prepare. We can even evaluate it. Like, your car may do 130,000 miles. That's 70,000 miles of driving. 50,000 miles more of driving. So based on how many miles you're driving a year, because we've been looking at it, we know you're driving 15,000 miles a year. You got about 4 years before you're at 130,000 miles, right? So we can plan that. At that point in time, since we sat down and did a review, we understand what these vehicles are costing nowadays. So with X amount of money down, we can finance this much money and have a payment of around X. We can look at all of these things. That way, when it's time and that vehicle starts giving you problems that you no longer want to deal with, you won't even be stressed about it because you'll be prepared for it. You'll have 5 or 6 grand saved up. You'll be able to walk into any situation and make it a better one for yourself. So I hope you guys are loving this video. This is exactly where we're going for 2024. I'm going to be talking about this a lot in multiple different scenarios so people can understand it. We just want to help give back what we've learned over the years, that reacting to these situations is not helping us. Proactively attacking the situation and understanding where we're at every mileage interval will help us make better decisions. They'll be better informed and ultimately save us money. So if you like this video today, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thank you so much. I'm Ronnie Haskins. Happy New Year.